Hey everyone, it's Southern Belle Canto. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a review for you. The book I will be reviewing is One Day at a Time by Danielle Steel. My spice rating for this book is like a 1.5. It was really brief, not sexually explicit. There were some sex scenes, but very brief and not explicit at all. My GoodReads rating for this book was a 4 out of 5 stars. So it was a very enjoyable book. It wasn't my favorite, but there was nothing really wrong with it. So that's why I gave it a 4 out of 5. So this is a novel by Danielle Steel. She is one of my favorite authors. She does a lot of romance, but a lot of also dramatic novels. I always say that her novels are very cinematic in scope, meaning when you read them, it's sort of like reading a movie. So if you really enjoy movies or books that are sort of a melodrama, so they're dramatic but nothing too insane, I would highly recommend a Danielle Steel novel. This one wasn't my favorite, and I'll go into that shortly. So this novel follows 3 women, which is really cool. It's a mother and her 2 daughters. The mother is Florence. She is a famous best-selling romance novelist, and she's a fairly recent widow. It's ironic. This is, I think, going to be the 3rd book that features a widow that I've read this month. So that's sort of an interesting twist of events for me as a reader. And her eldest daughter, Jane, is an award-winning producer of films, usually like blockbusters or, very Oscar buzz-worthy movies. So I think she's been nominated for 2 Academy Awards and most likely will win one next year, as that they've led on. And Florence's youngest daughter is Colette, who goes by Coco, and she is a rebellious young adult. She's 28 years old and is sort of a self-proclaimed hippie. She has run away from this elitist LA lifestyle. So Coco is at a crossroads in her life. She's 28. She sadly lost the love of her life a few years before the novel starts. He taught scuba diving, but unfortunately he died in a hang gliding accident. So she's recovering from the loss of her love. They were essentially going to be married very shortly, and he passed away. And she is a dog walker in a small beachy town of, I think it's Bolanos, California. I've never heard of it. It's like a small beachy town. I believe it's Bolanos. I'll have to look it up. And she gets a call from her sister Jane, who's very type A, wound up, and she needs someone to dog sit for because Jane and her life partner Liz have to go to New York because there's a writer's strike or something like that for the film industry. So she has to go and sort of do some PR and some management and talk shows and stuff in New York City. So she needs Coco to go to her home in Bel Air and dog sit for her. So Coco goes and dog sits for her, and I think she's making breakfast. There's a funny scene with the 2 dogs. Coco brings her own dog as well. He's an Australian Shepherd, and I believe Jane's dog is a German Shepherd or another large, beastly kind of dog. And there's an issue. There's a loud clamor. There's glass broken. She has the 2 dogs going around, and she sees a man in her sister's mansion in Bel Air. And she's like, who are you? And it turns out she does recognize the man, but she's never met him. He's an A-list movie celebrity, Leslie Baxter, and he is staying at her sister's place because he just broke up with a really tumultuous ex-girlfriend who's kind of insane. But he is there recuperating from his breakup and kind of lying low from the press, and he meets Coco. Well, shortly after their meet, they fall in love with a whirlwind romance. But is Coco really excited or interested in being brought back into this elitist A-list world that she's tried so hard to get away from? Another person of interest, of course, is Jane, and she is at another crossroads in her life. She is going to be expecting a baby soon with her life partner, Liz. And then we have Florence, their mother, who at 62, almost at 63, is entering into a love affair romance with a much younger man who is, I think, 38 or 39, the same age as her daughter, Jane. So what I found really interesting about this book is that the three women are at three different acts of their life. So for me, I felt that Coco was nearing the end of her act one of her life, so to speak. She's about to, I think people set their acts of life as 0 to 30, 30 to 60, and then like 60 to 90 or death. And so Coco's about to enter in that second act of her life without really knowing her purpose, which was interesting. And then we have Jane, the elder sister, who's about 10 years roughly older than Coco, and she is entering into motherhood. And I'm assuming, I think this was published before the legalization of gay marriage, so Jane and Liz are just life partners. I don't believe they could be married at the time of the publication of the novel. So either way, they're going to be entering into parenthood, and they're in a relationship. They've been in one for about 5 to 6 years. And then we have Florence, who is entering into this last chapter, essentially, of her life, her last act. And she has found sort of the love of her life. Her former husband was a big shot in LA, but he unfortunately passed away. And so now she's recuperating from the loss of her husband, and she's found love with a much younger man. So that, of course, entails drama, especially with younger daughters that are adults. So what I found this novel to be was very exciting, very dramatic and melodramatic. It didn't have a lot of romance to it per se. I mean, it did, but it wasn't my favorite Danielle Steel, to put it quickly. But I did enjoy the story. I would read it again. If you like Danielle Steel novels, if you're looking for something light and melodramatic, I would recommend this book. I wouldn't read this as my first Danielle Steel. If you were wanting to read a Danielle Steel, you can DM me or PM me, and I can give you some better recommendations that were more of a 5-star. But I give this a 4. I'm a little biased because I do love Danielle Steel, but overall it was a very good book and enjoyable. So that was my review for today. Please follow me on Instagram as well, and also at TikTok at Southern Bel Canto, spelled the same way. And I also have a GoodReads I can link to you as well. So thank you so much. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you soon for another video. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.